The mood around Celtic has shifted almost overnight, and it is hard to pretend otherwise when you look at how quickly that change settled over the club in these past weeks. The arrival of Martin O'Neill, even only on an interim basis, brought back a sense of clarity that had felt lost. When he stepped in, plenty of supporters were split, not quite sure what to make of such a symbolic return, but he came in, gathered the squad, straightened the ideas, and above all restored a confidence the team seemed to have let slip at the start of the season. Now, with a solid run of wins behind them, the side is playing with an energy that recalls more stable times, with players who look re-energized every time they step onto the pitch. It is almost remarkable how someone with no intention of staying long-term managed to deliver so much so quickly, and maybe it is exactly because he is not chasing permanence that he has handled everything with a light, direct, and efficient touch, like a man who knows he is there simply to fix an immediate problem. Even so, the debate around the managerial change has grown. Many supporters believe keeping O'Neill until the end of the season would be the safest route, especially with so many decisive fixtures coming. But at the same time, if the real intention is to hand the job to a new manager and all signs point to Wilfried Nancy, there is little logic in delaying the process. If the switch is going to happen, it should be soon enough for him to impose his ideas, study the squad, understand the internal rhythms, and perhaps even take advantage of this rediscovered confidence to accelerate the adaptation. Of course, there is risk. Nancy will not be walking into a team in crisis. He will be walking into a team that is winning again, one that has just regained its form and emotional stability. That raises the pressure from the first moment, because any early stumble will be compared instantly to the short burst of success under O'Neill. But at the same time, the chance of making an immediate impact could turn him into a hero quickly, as Celtic have trophies and big matches ahead. What stands out most during this period is the emotional response of the players. The way they reacted to O'Neill's instructions and how they returned to competing with real intensity shows that this was a group ready to go, simply waiting for direction. In several recent matches, even with mistakes and lapses, you can see a team willing to work together, press in an organized way, and fight for every ball as if the entire season depended on it. That spirit is exactly what can serve as the foundation for the next manager. Injuries remain an issue, and some players are still struggling to recover rhythm. But the core of the team is proving that with simple organization and clear objectives, there is enough strength there to push for the top of the table again. The most recent match illustrated this perfectly. Easter Road has always been a tricky place, and the run of away fixtures made it clear that this week would be one of the toughest in the season. The opening minutes were shaky, with the team slow to press and lacking precision in possession. Hibernian came out with their usual home intensity, trying to suffocate the build-up and force mistakes. But all it took was a brief spark of organization for Celtic to flip the game completely. 2 goals in 2 minutes changed the atmosphere, replacing uncertainty with authority. The first felt almost like a gift, but the second was pure bravery from Ari Engels, attacking the ball in a difficult area and putting his head where few would dare. That burst set the team free, giving them comfort and the sense that the match was under control, even though Easter Road never truly allows calm. The moment that could have killed the match before halftime came, when Sarah burst down the left and nearly scored after a brilliant move involving several players. His performances in these past weeks have reignited the debate over the left-back position. His energy His positive aggression and his comfort carrying the ball forward give him a genuine case for the starting role, even with a player like Tierney available. In domestic matches, especially the more physical ones, Sarah has shown a consistency that is hard to ignore, and in decisive fixtures like finals or direct clashes, it would not be surprising to see him selected from the start. Such is the confidence he is playing with right now. The second half brought more tension than fluency. Hibs grew into the game, started believing, and pushed Celtic into uncomfortable areas. The struggles in midfield became obvious, and the team spent long stretches unable to control possession. The handball incident involving Liam Scales was the moment that might have changed everything. And although many supporters felt the ball struck his shoulder, the player's own comments showed how unclear this rule has become. Every week brings a new interpretation, and consistency simply does not exist. Even so, Celtic showed defensive resilience with strong performances from the centre-backs and two crucial interventions from Schmeichel that secured the points. The Danish keeper, so heavily questioned at the start of the season, is regaining confidence with strong showings in big matches, reminding everyone why he was brought in. Those final moments of grit and suffering matter a lot in a title race. The way the players celebrated at the final whistle showed the weight of the collective effort. It was one of those victories that binds a dressing room, that strengthens the group's spirit, and proves that even far from perfect, there is commitment and belief. And that has a direct effect on the fight for the top. The inconsistency of Hearts and Rangers these past weeks opened a door that felt firmly shut not long ago. From 8 points behind, Celtic can now overtake Hearts in the next head-to-head match, provided they beat Dundee before that. With one game still in hand, the table has shifted quickly, and the picture now allows supporters to dream again. The emotional landscape of the league also plays into this. Hearts have shown that carrying the lead is very different from chasing it. The weight of responsibility has fallen on them, and complicated matches that should, on paper, be straightforward. Celtic, meanwhile, used to fighting for titles every season, know how to navigate this sort of situation. The team still has flaws, of course, and the squad is far from complete, but they have rediscovered something that often matters more than technical quality: direction, focus, and conviction. And that is exactly the kind of environment a new manager needs to walk into. The uncertainty hanging over Celtic's next steps is something that sits in the air like a low mist. But oddly enough, there is a quiet calm around the place, almost as if everyone has accepted that a change is on the way, whether it happens now or a few weeks down the line. What stands out is that even with all the talk about a new manager, nobody inside the dressing room looks distracted. If anything, the players are competing with a level of focus that has not been seen since the start of the season, treating every match as a chance to show they are ready for whatever direction the club takes. It gives this whole moment a strange uniqueness. It is not often you see a team living through structural uncertainty and still performing with such clarity. And a lot of that comes from the straightforward approach Martin O'Neill introduced. He did not try to turn everything upside down. He simply brought back a sense of practicality and direct purpose. When players know exactly what is being asked of them, the performances tend to follow naturally. The biggest question now is how the squad will react to Wilfried Nancy's methods, if he does take over this early. His style demands bravery, patience, and intelligence in possession, something many of Celtic's players are capable of, but it is a model that takes time to absorb. The encouraging thing is that the team no longer looks nervous on the pitch. That calmness which has returned in recent matches creates the perfect ground for new ideas to settle. And because Nancy is known for helping players grow individually as well as collectively, he could find an extremely receptive group here. The difficult bits is the context he would walk into, a winning team that never makes adaptation any easier, because any adjustment that looks like a drop in performance will be judged instantly. Sometimes taking over a side that is struggling is simpler because every small step forward is seen as progress. But stepping into a team that has rediscovered its rhythm means every detail becomes a talking point. The upcoming league fixtures will shape the narrative as much as anything. Traveling to Glasgow to meet Hearts has the feel of one of those matches that can shift the direction of a season entirely. The gap that once looked impossible to close is now within reach, and that alone gives the squad a huge emotional boost. That chase, something Celtic knows better than most, becomes a driving force. Players who not long ago were wrestling with confidence are now stepping onto the pitch with their shoulders back, knowing they have a real chance to flip the storyline completely. When a team senses it has control over its own path, performances often climb another level. The real test is whether this momentum holds when the pressure piles up even further. What has stood out just as much is how certain players have stepped into new responsibilities. Ari Engels, for example, did more than show bravery in that goal-scoring moment. He displayed a kind of quiet leadership, the presence that lifts those around him. That matters enormously in a period like this because despite the recent wins, the squad is still far from complete. Injuries continue to affect selection choices, adjustments are constant, and several players are still chasing full rhythm. Yet even with all of that, there is a core group pulling the team forward. This is the sort of unit that usually survives managerial transitions because it already carries a strong identity. A new manager only needs to polish and layer his ideas on top, rather than rebuild the entire structure. Another important factor has been the tactical shape O'Neill put in place. He did not rip up the system. He simply tightened spaces, reorganized defensive cover, and restored balance to the middle of the park. That helped Celtic regain control in areas where they had looked vulnerable. Now, even when the team loses the ball, the reaction is quicker, more aggressive, and far more coordinated. That gives the forwards the freedom to take risks without worrying about leaving gaps behind them. This framework could be crucial for Nancy if he arrives soon, because his philosophy also depends heavily on solid organization before the build-up phase. Supporters have played a big role in this turnaround as well. After weeks of frustration and worry, the fan base has started to rediscover a sense of belief. The backing at Easter Road showed that better than anything. Every duel won, every interception, every counterattack was met with an energy that had been missing earlier in the season. When a stadium starts to move with confidence again, the whole dynamic shifts. The players begin to trust themselves more, and that feeling of unity becomes priceless in tight matches. It is exactly why so many fans are torn between keeping O'Neill until the end of the season or handing control to the next manager right away. It is a debate driven by emotion, but also by long-term thinking. And whatever decision the board makes, they must ensure this positive atmosphere is protected. This period also puts additional weight on the younger players. Several of them are at a pivotal stage in their careers, needing minutes, but also needing stability. The arrival of a coach with very defined ideas might speed up their development, but it could also raise the competitive bar even higher. And right now, with so many high-pressure fixtures in quick succession, Every training session becomes crucial. This is the stage of a season where tiny details matter, and any young player who shows tactical maturity and commitment can establish themselves very quickly. The defensive improvement has been just as significant, even with nervy moments and stretches of instability. The backline has found ways to respond. Schmeichel, who faced so much criticism earlier in the season, has re-emerged with performances that resemble the best spells of his career. The way he commands the line, organizes movements, and steps up in key moments has given the team a level of security that was lacking. When the goalkeeper is confident, everyone in front of him plays with more freedom to press, push up, and keep the team compact. It changes the entire flow of matches. What this period truly shows is that Celtic have started competing with heart again. In the chaotic stretches of matches, when everything gets messy and unpredictable, the team still finds a way to fight. It is not always about technical quality, it is about drive and conviction. And that same emotional strength will be vital in the coming weeks, especially as matches against direct rivals approach. Titles are not won solely through attractive football. They are won with resilience, mental steadiness, and a willingness to respond under pressure in a way that surprises many. Celtic have begun showing those qualities again, even in the middle of a turbulent transition. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. A hush has fallen over the East End of Glasgow, the kind that creeps in when something big is stirring behind closed doors. Word drifting through Lennoxtown sources suggests Celtic are quietly lining up a mega offer for striker Akor Adams, a move that's already setting off murmurs across the support and giving rival clubs a right dose of nerves. Nay, one inside the club is saying much, but the talk, floating about the corridors, hints at a bold, aggressive push, far more ambitious than the usual January toe-dipping. Some insist the recruitment team have been watching Adams for months, liking his physical presence, his direct running, and that knack of bullying defenders that Celtic Park faithful love to bits. Whispers claim the board believes Adams could be the missing piece, the kind of forward who turns tight, domestic scraps and heavy European nights in their favour. It's said the analytics lads have been buzzing about his numbers, while a few in the scouting department are apparently convinced he's ready to explode if dropped into the right system. But this is where the rumour becomes a bit foggier. A couple of insiders warn that the fee being discussed is well above the usual range, something significant enough to raise eyebrows among those who keep an eye on the wage structure and the club's famously careful purse strings. Still, there's a sense of determination, almost urgency, driving the whole thing, as if those in charge feel this is the moment to strike before others come sniffing. Fans online are already running wild, dissecting every scrap of information, every leaked hint, every suspicious smile from club staff. A few swear they've seen agents milling about the city. Others claim Adams' camp is waiting on Celtic's final nod. Nothing is confirmed. Nothing is denied, and that only fuels the fire. But now, the buzz continues to grow. Something's definitely brewing. And if the rumours are even half true, Celtic might be preparing one of their biggest moves in years. The green side of Glasgow may be on the verge of getting a new hero if the deal truly comes alive. Hello, fan, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.